Hey everyone, OroCrimson here, yet again with another PokeFACTS episode. Welcome to episode 2, where we will be talking about the Charmander line of Pokemon. So Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, pretty big favorites right there. Definitely my favorite starter series of the first generation. So let's get it underway. So first of all, if you watched the last episode about Bulbasaur, you'll know that there was a Neoway dollar created with him on one side of the coin. Well, Charmander's got one of those too. In the first generation, on its sprite and first artwork, Charmander's back is depicted as having a small line of spikes. The spikes are not shown in the sprites and artwork of later generations. Charmander also had these spikes in the Pokemon Adventures manga, where the spikes were larger and easier to see. The spikes were also seen on Green's Charmander from the Pokemon Pocket Monsters manga. Charmander just happens to be the tallest Fire-type starter Pokemon, and I doubt Finnegan's going to change that. In the first generation, Charmander and its evolutionary line are capable of learning Leer. However, in later generations, this move is replaced by Scary Face. Charmander's Fire Red Pokédex entry states that its life would end if the flame on its tail would go out. However, in the console games, its flame effectively stops burning if Charmander, or its evolutions, is affected by freeze, and it does not burn in the rain. Charmander can learn the move Metal Claw by leveling up in Generation 3, exclusively in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. But it can only learn it by breeding in Generation 4 and Generation 5. Charmander just happens to have the longest name of all unevolved starter Pokemon. Charmeleon and Charizard share the same species name as Flareon, Moltres, and Infernape. They are all known as Flame Pokemon. Charmeleon and its evolutionary family are the only Pokemon who have flames as part of their bodies that do not go out naturally, with the Pokemon still being alive. Of course, except in the console games, in which, flipped by a freeze, the flame will effectively stop burning. Charizard and Typhlosion, along with the respective evolutionary line, have exactly the same base stats. Infernape also has the same base stat total, though its individual stats differ. Charizard has the exact same cry as Rhyhorn. And Charizard holds the distinction of being the first Pokemon to appear in the Japanese version of the Pokemon anime. It is the first one to appear in the original opening credits. However, outside of Japan, this honor belongs to Mewtwo. Charizard is the only Pokemon in the Super Smash Bros. Series that transitioned from a Pokeball Pokemon to a playable character. It is also the only playable Stage 2 Pokemon in the Super Smash Bros. Series. Also, despite having a higher base speed than both Squirtle and Ivysaur, Charizard is the slowest of the Pokemon used by Pokemon Trainer. This was done for gameplay purposes, though. Of all Dual-type, Fire-type starter Pokemon, Charizard is the only one whose secondary type is not fighting. I can kind of see why people were a little bit upset. Hopefully, Finnegan will change this. Charizard was unable to learn Fly through HMO2 in Pokemon Red and Blue. This was changed starting with Yellow, making it still possible to get a Charizard with Fly in the original games if you trade one from a later version. And finally, with Generation 2, Charizard had a different set of colors for his shiny appearance. Even in the remakes of Generation 2, he had the colors that we know of today, but in the original Gold, Silver, and Crystal, he had a different set of colors, more of a purple and green than a black and red. And with that wraps things up with Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. Tune in next episode of PokeFACTS for the Squirtle evolution family of Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise, which should be fun. And thank you guys for watching. Talk to you all later.